Hi folks, hope you're well. This video is about the slightly darker things, because there is a reality where, there are people who suffer from mental health issues, who do horrendous things, torture people, even torture children. And sometimes they're testing to see if God is real, because they're doing it to see if God will stop them. Sometimes that will happen. It's the nature of the beast, isn't it, really? Again, there's no point trying to get into the mind of someone who would do torture anyone, yet alone torture children. You couldn't get into the mind of someone. There's no point even trying. But I think right now the church is in danger. Massive danger right now. And any video where I've actually spoken about the church as giving itself to the devil, there's no joy there. There's no joy in saying that, because it's not a joyful thing to say. Not in any way, shape or form. There's nothing at all joyful there. But the reality is, yes, do all the police checks you want. Do all of this and all of that and all the other that you want. That can only tell you what people have done. That cannot tell you how dangerous an individual is and in what way. But when you choose to do things according to the world and not according to God, it means that God cannot tell you that that person, that individual that you just taken into your church or taken on in a position in your church is incredibly bloody dangerous. That person has issues that, if not dealt with very, very quickly, which they won't be, and in most cases they won't be, because any serious issues, the church is not really qualified to deal with that, is it? Are they? No. No. Not at all. So therefore, that person should never have been brought in. And there are many, many situations where people right now in churches that don't know that they have someone incredibly dangerous to the members of their church in their church. And the devil has placed that person there. Why? What people do not understand is, if you do things according to the world, you're doing things according to the God of this world. Therefore, you are letting him in. When he comes in, he won't necessarily make you aware that he is in. Because, of course, the best thing he can do is make you think that he's nowhere near your church, even though he's completely in control of your church. But he wants you to think that God is in control of your church, because then you won't do anything to change it. And then you let the wrong people in your church that the devil wants in your church. And then after a time, he will destroy completely your church. Because whatever nasty, evil, sadistic games that the devil wants to play, he's going to suddenly let those games begin. And you may think you are protected legally according to insurance. And you're right, because you've ticked the boxes according to this world. But you haven't according to God. You have not ticked the boxes according to God. And so, yeah. The shite is going to hit the fan. The devil doesn't want control of the church, to turn the church into a religious community centre. Took a while to get that out, yes. He doesn't want to do that because that's a waste of time. He wants people to blame God. So therefore, if you think that God is in charge of your church, and people believe that, when something really nasty happens in your church, they're going to blame the one who they thought was in charge of the church. That's the reality. And therefore, the devil gets the people to blame God. And he knows that won't offend God at all. People blaming God doesn't offend God. What it does is giving those people completely to the devil. Because they turn away from God completely. Even though they've actually turned away from God already. But not completely. And the devil wants them to blame God. Because that's his joy. So, when you do things according to the world, it's like, well, you had that ship in the UK, that ship, Zeebrugge, was it called Zeebrugge? I'm not sure what it's called, but there was a ship, a transport ship, or boat, big boat, massive boat, where cars were going into it, and they weren't really dealing with the issues with that ship. So in the back of it, there was a door. And that door goes down so the cars can drive out of it. And that door is now a ramp that the cars go through or down. And when they're coming into the boat, that door is a ramp that the cars go over to get into the ship. But obviously, you have to close it properly. And they weren't really dealing with the issues. They were hoping that nothing would happen. And then something did happen. And that door wasn't closed properly. Because they were only hoping something won't happen. And for the church, if you're using the world to check, you only know what they did in the past. You don't know what they could do in the future. So therefore, you're only hoping that something won't happen. Because you're not going to the God. You're not going to God to ask him if that person is okay. You're going to the world. So there you go. Let's see what happens. Bye-bye.